What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of the Legislative Director, talking about legislative things. As always, she is the conductor driving this train that is our legislative agenda. Legislative Director Amber Marr, and passengers on this journey, not the Legislative Director Jason Thompson, not the Legislative Director Addison Pollock, keeping the train puns on the track. That goes out to producer Dan. What is going on, you guys? How are you?
Wow. Doing well. How are you? Good to see you guys.
Hi, everybody. Jason, Dan is going to cut us off here.
Totally. I think he's putting into the chat that he quits. That's
Yeah.
unfortunate. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't do that. I hope not, because we need
I hope-
Dan.
We need you.
Can't do this without you. Just had to get a few more train puns in before we moved on. So,
Yeah. So
hey,
all aboard.
It's good.
Let's do this.
It's all... Yeah, I don't know. It was fun. It was good stuff. So yeah, we are coming up here at the end of another week, rolling into almost halftime of the legislative session. We will have a more robust halftime episode next week where we will talk about all the bills that we're getting in the mix on, where they are, what's happening, what the future holds for the second half, all that fun stuff. But today we're just going to hit on a few bills that are going on. And then, yeah, we can get into what we've been working on this week and what we want to bring you up to speed on. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. We can get into it now. Amber, what's going on? What do we want to talk about today?
So we are going to talk about 3 bills very quickly because, as you mentioned, we will do a full robust report next week, as the deadlines will be coming to an end on Tuesday and Wednesday. So let's start with Senate Bill 236. It is the eligibility for senior property tax deduction. So right now, this program already currently exists in Indiana. The requirements are to be 65 years or older. You have to have the assessed value of the individual's real property from $30,000, is currently $30,000. And then also the assessed value of your property has to be at $200,000. So what this bill does is it just increases the requirements. Increases. I do mean that, but it's helpful because right now the way the housing market is going, individuals who used to be eligible for this program have sort of been priced out of it. So this bill went from $30,000 of the assessed value of the individual's real property to $40,000, and then the maximum assessed value will go to $300,000. The bill originally had $400,000 in it. In committee, they just kind of decided that maybe $400,000 was a little too high, so they amended it and just brought it back down to $300,000. So it still is helpful. And the other thing that they amended in committee, they removed, in the original version of the bill, individuals used to have to apply yearly for this deduction. They removed that section, so individuals no longer have to file yearly. If you meet the criteria and you've already applied one time, you will just continue to get the deduction until something changes, or you no longer qualify for the deduction. So we were really excited that this was happening. We understand that property taxes can be out of control, especially for individuals who don't have any way to increase their income. So individuals that are over 65 sometimes already have their house paid off, and then they can be sort of pushed out of their home because of the high rising cost of property taxes. So we were really excited that we were able to be a part of this discussion. Like I said, it was it passed out of committee. I'm trying to think of, it was 13-0, and it moved on to second reading, and no further amendments were added, and it is now up for third reading next week.
Perfect.
Did I miss anything with that? I may have not described that completely.
No, I mean, it's property taxes. I mean, you can get super in the weeds on that if you want, but I think it's pretty clear cut as much as property taxes can be. I think it's a good thing.
I was on mute. Sorry, I was just gonna say, so basically it moved your assessed value from 30 to 40 and then from 200 to 300,000. So anywhere from 40,000 to 300,000.
Awesome.
Yeah, that
Okay.
sounds like good news. So
Yeah,
glad we're
very good.
supporting that,
Absolutely.
keeping people in their homes.
So yes, that is something that we want to make sure, especially after they lived in their community for so long. Moving right along, we are going to Senate Bill 13. Um, Addison, it is the commission on,
What's this one about?
yes, this is the Select Commission on Passenger Rail.
I'm
Chugga
sorry,
chugga
what was it?
chugga 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 chugga.
Passenger rail?
That's my train chugging. It's coming into the station because I'm about to.
I really
Sorry,
need
Dan.
Dan. I really
Oh,
need
sorry,
Dan to help
Dan.
us with this show moving
Yeah.
forward. I have a feeling that I am not going to join in because we are never going to live this down. I just have a feeling.
It's done. I'm done. Uh, so I apologize in advance. Dan's probably doing everybody a favor out there by trying to rein us in on our
Yeah,
train puns.
I have so many I want to say
I know.
You know,
Who doesn't like a good train pun?
I
I
know,
guess
right?
Dan doesn't.
Uh,
Anyways,
Dan doesn't, and
Dan,
probably a majority of people.
yeah, I don't want to
Yeah,
belabor it.
let's talk about that one.
though. Dan doesn't. Dan does not like train puns. Let's just make sure that's out there.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, Addison, if you don't mind, I am going to let you tell about this one because I think there was also an interesting dynamic that occurred that I thought you might also want to give an update on.
Yeah, thanks, Amber. So I appreciate just coming on the show and talking about a lot of the livable work that we focus on, and passenger rail is obviously a component for transportation in communities and inter-community connections and all of that good stuff. So we support passenger rail as a transportation option, but also a quality of life feature. What Senate Bill 13 does is it establishes a commission to study passenger rail at the state level, and this bill had been moving along, not a lot of changes until was it yesterday, I believe. And I know we want this show to be evergreen, but recently there was an amendment that had been offered and approved, which essentially said that this commission can exist to study and research passenger rail, except may not study, advocate, or promote passenger rail in Marion County, which is obviously consolidated with Indianapolis, which is obviously the largest city in the entire state. So um, that is a new development that we're not completely happy with. We would like to see Indianapolis included in the studies and the recommendations of passenger rail in the state. But at the same time, we are a statewide organization and we support all of our Hoosier communities. So we want to see this move along. We see passenger rail thrive in the state. We're hoping that maybe we can get that amendment changed down the line, whether it be in the House side of things when the bill flips to the other chamber, or in conference committee or something like that. So Amber knows more than anyone else that there's a lot of different channels to legislation. So Amber, did I miss anything or anything
No,
you want me to cover?
Addison, that was great. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that I said the vote for the amendment was actually 33 to 14. So it did pass with quite a number of votes. I just think that, this is a good thing. The bill is a good thing. I think that for now, we will just continue to express our concerns because we are supportive of the commission and everything that they are going to be tasked with doing. So hopefully along the way, we still have a little bit to go. So, we're not at the end yet. So we'll have to see what this looks like a couple weeks from now. But so it will be on third reading. We will hopefully be able to give an update next week after we I think it's on for actually currently while we're recording this. So we'll be able to get the third reading vote for everybody next week. So stay tuned. It just was a little bit of a surprise. I think that when we heard that this amendment going in and the discussion around it, just a little disappointing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
little confusing about why it kind of to include that, but at the same time, like you said, it can do a lot of good. There's a lot of communities that um, have been looking at these kind of issues or trying to get something around passenger rail going in their community and connecting to either Ohio or to Chicago, and so there's still a lot of good that can come from it, even with this late addition to it. So
Yep, absolutely. I mean, there are just so many things going on this session. I feel like there are surprises happening all around, and so we shouldn't be surprised. But we can still be surprised. So, okay, well, stay tuned for more information on that. Our last and final bill that we're going to talk about is actually Senate Bill, and why did I just lose 352? My apologies. These numbers, I still don't have the bill numbers down. I don't know how. Senate Bill 352. And I, sorry, give me 1 second because I have all of my notes and I'm not quite there yet. Here we go. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. Senate Bill 352. It's the Supervised Consumer Loans Bill. This is a very controversial topic. We talked about this a little bit last time, I think. Um,
yep.
these loans are a new product here in Indiana. They are not payday loans. They are a separate product. So I want to make sure that that's clear. The cap on the loan is 36%. And I think what is confusing at first is, over the last couple of years, we've been fighting to get payday loans capped at 36%. While that number is still very high, if some individuals are wondering where that 36% comes from, veterans are these types of loans are capped for veterans at 36% on the federal level. And so when we came together all, as a coalition and other coalitions across the United States, 36% kind of we were looking to that to mirror that same law. So if veterans were allowed to be capped at 36%, we thought everyone should be able to have that safeguard, even though 36% is still exceptionally high. So in this bill, it does cap these new products at 36%. So you think, oh, okay, well, that is something we've been asking for. But there are things in this bill that allow these lenders to charge maintenance fees, monthly fees, and it's a little bit unclear when you first read it because it seems like you're capped at 36%, but then you see that they're allowed to do all these other fees. So it can become, and for those who are in need of these types of loans, it can put them into a cycle of debt that we really are trying to keep additional products out of the state of Indiana to help individuals to not get into that situation. There are a few things on this bill that I just wanted to mention and draw your attention to. I think it's important to understand that these lenders in this bill are actually exempt from being prosecuted under the criminal loan sharking statute. So that is very concerning. It does not eliminate payday loans. So payday loans can offer the product they currently have and then be able to have these new products that this bill would be creating. Let's see. And then another point that I wanted to make is that it does not require lenders to report to credit bureaus. So I just want to make sure it doesn't require them to. Some, as they testified, say that they do, but it doesn't help individuals build credit. So when they are taking out these loans, if they do pay it off in time, even though they're very costly loans and high monthly payments that they have to make, if they do pay it off, they are not reported to the credit bureau. That does not build their credit that they actually were paying these. So I think that is also concerning. We have been talking to legislators and really trying to get the word out as to why these loans should not be allowed to be brought to Indiana. This bill, as we talked about last week, but I can't remember where it was last week when we talked about it. Had it already passed out of committee, you guys?
Yes.
Oh, it had. Okay. So it passed out of committee, and it was sent to the floor on second reading, moved to third. The thing is that this week they called Senator Zay called it down on third reading, and when he did, the vote was not a constitutional majority, so it failed due to that reason. What does that mean? Well, when a bill fails to pass by a constitutional majority, the author can bring it back until essentially uh, the deadline comes, or the bill either passes or fails on an actual vote. So while we were really excited to see that this is clearly being very heavily debated amongst the senators, we were like, okay, great, we made it one more day. But it could have been called down again. And while we are recording this prior to getting on the show, Senator Zay had passed on calling it down. So he could bring it back next week until the deadline. So until third reading deadline, it can still come back on third reading. So what I would just say is, we would really, if you feel passionate about this or would like to help us, please contact your senator and please ask them to vote no on Senate Bill 352. Jason, Addison, what did I forget about this?
No, I think that that was a good recap. I mean, it's been posed as, well, this is something that folks need, and it's an option for individuals, and they're not necessarily incorrect in that, but what it is it's not replacing payday loans. It's now in addition to. So now you're not only is the payday loan still out there, you have like a whole new product. There's no, if I recall, there's kind of no cooling off period where after you complete one, you could just pick up and get another one going. Whereas in the payday loans, there's a little bit of there's a cooling off period before you can take out your next one. So that kind of safeguard has been removed. And it's just, and I think some of the things that you had already mentioned, the fact that like there's no avenue or requirement that these lenders report back to their credit bureaus of the individuals taking these out. So there's without that requirement in place, then you don't know that it's actually going to happen, and then you can't say that you're building credit for it. And then I think there was another piece around several, I remember senators talking about the financial literacy component to this, that we need to have some kind of programs in place where folks can just learn about how you handle your finances and that kind of thing. And there is a small, I think, dollar amount that's taken from a licensing fee for folks that offer these products, that's put into a fund, but there's no details about what's that money going to be spent on. I think it's only going to end up being around like $130,000 or something like that. So it's not even like a big amount. So there's just a lot of things about this that just don't kind of sit well, and makes and doesn't make me think that it would be like it's not a value add to this space. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if there's going to be enough votes come next week to move this along. But in the meantime, keep calling your senators and tell them to vote against this is kind of what we would recommend.
And I did just want to add, one of the things that we talk about really deals with, there are organizations right now like Bright Point in Fort Wayne that offer loans at a much reasonable rate to really try to help people build that credit so that they can really increase that and get back on their feet. And if it is because their car broke down, or it is because they need to fix their home, like for their roof or what have you, it doesn't continuously put them in that cycle of debt. So we would like to look at those options and look at maybe expanding them across Indiana instead of just saying that there's only a couple, which is true, and that they may not be able to hold the amount of, capacity that people would need for these types of loans. But if we build those networks out, it might be an option instead of just looking to increase more loans that are in a space that we just do not feel are very consumer oriented.
Yeah, I would just add to that that, you can say that, this is a new product and it's helpful to people in the immediate sense that they have something they need to pay off. But they're still predatory in nature, these types of products. So I think we would like to see a future that invests more in the options that Amber's talking about. So I think there's just a healthier way to go about this for people's financial security and their financial future. So, uh, till next time, we will see what happens with that one.
Agreed. And just, I wanted to make sure I gave a shout out. It is not just us working on this bill. We are working in a coalition of other community organizations, and everyone is just chipping in. And members of those organizations are calling their legislators. And one of the coalitions that we sit on is called the Hoosiers for Responsible Lending. So they've been sending out press releases and just really trying to get the word out so that people know that this is happening. I know it's hard during session for the public to really know what all is happening in that building, because there is so much and some very controversial things occurring. So we really wanted to make sure that this was out front. So I just wanted to make sure that we didn't let people forget that we're not working in a vacuum. We have many, many advocates a part of this. Okay.
Correct. Yes. All right. Well, that's the bills that we wanted to talk about. But before we kind of get going, Addison, let's do a little kind of crossover appeal here, if you will, from our other programming. This is in. I hope that you guys all get a chance to check out that, where Addison is talking to folks from across the state in our communities that we're doing a lot of good work in. Today, or not today, but this week, we kicked off kind of an exciting time in the AARP world. So, Addison, why don't you talk about the community challenge grants?
Sure, sure. Thanks for the airtime. Appreciate it, guys. So, yeah, hopefully, folks who are listening to this, I know that you are tuned into the legislative activity going on at the state house, but there's also an opportunity coming up for you to make an impact in your community. So, the AARP Community Challenge Grant is in its sixth year. This is the sixth year of this program, which is designed to make communities more livable for people by giving them some seed money, some money to make improvements to jumpstart long-term change. Eligible applicants are your standard nonprofits, 501c3s, C4s, C6s, and also municipalities are eligible to receive this grant. This is a grant that we've given out to about 14 organizations across 9 communities in the state. We've given out more than $225,000. So a lot of the projects that we've looked at are, they have to do with public spaces, making, creating park spaces in communities, transportation options, housing options, ways to promote civic engagement. There's a new category this year for diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as a way to pair this grant program with some of the federal funding that's going to be trickling through communities from the Jobs and Investment Infrastructure Act. I forget what it's called, but the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, and then also the American Rescue Plan Act. So that's really exciting. Applications are due March 22nd at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find the application materials and more information at www.aarp.org/in. If you go there, right at the web address listed there, we have a lot of helpful information, and just reach out if you have questions. We're always here to help, and we hope that we get a lot of good applicants from across the state. So, looking forward to it.
Yeah, we
Addison,
in,
oh,
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead, Amber. Go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you so much for talking about this. I know one of the reasons why I wanted you to sort of bring it up, even though we're talking about legislation and it doesn't really seem like it fits, but I think it does because a lot of even our fellow colleagues at the State House are working in communities and know other individuals that when we work at the State House on housing and transportation and all of this, livable communities work, that really can then, while we may not be getting much on the state level right now, these communities can apply and do some really, really awesome projects that will sort of help, with the items that we're fighting for on a state level. So that's why I do think it's a good connection, so that people can hear it on here as well, and spread the word. So because it's a really great opportunity.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to plug it. So
Yeah,
check it out. Highly
it's a
recommended.
great program. A lot of opportunity there. Indiana has also always done, not to put any pressure to folks that are out there thinking they might get in the mix on this, your organization, but Indiana has done pretty well in regards to past winners and projects. So no pressure, but fully expect you to deliver again, folks out there. So come through with your idea for your organization, how you're going to help your community. Check out all the information there and get in the mix on that. And don't wait till March. To take a little bit
Don't
of
wait.
time now. Get your people together. Get that
Yeah,
idea and get it submitted, but don't wait until the very end.
yeah. Don't wait till March 21st or something like that.
So don't be a procrastinator like Jason. That's what you're.
Basically, that's pretty much just good life advice. Don't be like me. So it's not
You
she's
should
not
get bumper
wrong.
stickers printed.
I
That would be
know.
cool.
Don't be like
No,
Jason. Don't be that guy.
love it. I love it.
So do I. With that said, anything else we need to add here? No, I think we're
Nope,
good.
that's all I've got.
So
I know that next week it will be a long one next week, so get ready.
yeah, it might be a two-parter,
Yeah.
I think, just because we got a lot of bills to run down and it's, be halftime. So we'll get some looking ahead as well as some looking back and get ready for the second half of session, which is kind of crazy to think that it's still January and we're almost out of the second half. You got to love that short session
Yeah,
that we
these
have here
short
in Indiana.
sessions are, I just don't know. They fly by. So yeah, it,
Yeah,
it doesn't seem possible.
there's a whole bunch of words we can use to describe it. Most you can't say on air. So anything else to add before we let people get back to their time?
Nope, I
No?
think that's it.
Awesome. You
Nope.
guys are great. People listening and watching, you guys are also great. So we hope that you'll join us next time on the Legislative Director talking about legislative things. We will see you then.